Hello everyone, how are you? How are we doing with managing our anxiety when it comes to our 2024 lineup within Planner World? I know that a lot of us are being bombarded with so many different brand new releases and pre-sales and pre-orders, and there's a lot that's actually happening within the Planner World for the month of August moving into September. So before 2024 even arrives, you might already be thinking about what is your planner system going to look like for the next year. So this video is to sort of help you out, give you a little bit of an overview of what we can expect, what is something that you can keep an eye out for, and I will show you some resources that I'm hoping that if you're brand new to Planner World, then hopefully it will kind of navigate you along the way. And of course, if this is the first time that we're meeting, well, hello, my name is Meshi and I'm the person behind Align Plans. We chat a couple of times a week on this channel, talk about anything and everything, minimalist planning, journaling, stationery, basically all the things that are involved within this world. And the idea is to really make intentional decisions when it comes to setting up our planners, using it, not just consuming them for the sake of consumption. So if that's your jam, you would probably enjoy hanging out with me here. Let's just dive right in. So let's talk about planners and planner systems first and foremost. And what is it that we really actually need? What is something that you feel like you're going to need versus something that just caught your eye and you feel like it's going to be the most important thing? So the first thing that I want to kind of mention that I think is going to be very helpful is some resources. So let's just start with that. And in a moment, you're going to see me go back and forth between overhead and onto my screen because I wanted to actually show you what to keep an eye out for. So let's start with some resources. I will do my best also to link this down in the description, but in case I don't, or in case I forget, then you will have it here too. So these are going to be the sites that you should absolutely keep an eye out for. Now, depending on the planner system that you have, I'm just going to list out at least the basics, and then we will talk about each. So the first one that I wanted to mention is probably the most popular one, in my opinion, and that is Hobonichi. So Hobonichi generally each year does a full month-long release where we're kind of showing you what has changed, what hasn't changed, what are they changing in with their paper, and what's happening with the sizing, what can you expect. And then at the very beginning of September, they kind of launch the site live. Now, if you are in North America, you're kind of in luck because in Japan, it ends up being 11 o'clock in the morning. Here, it's actually the day before. So you can actually kind of use the time difference to your advantage. But what you kind of have access to when it comes to Hobonichi is you can buy them here locally. You can buy them obviously at any of the retailers. Amazon sells it. But honestly, if you're like me and you're buying your 2024 setup from Hobonichi, my recommendation is to go straight to the source. So when you do that, in my opinion, you basically get each of their like limited edition things that kind of come along with it. That one of the things would be basically the pen. So each year they kind of send you the pen that goes perfectly well with the Hobonichi planner. I'm just kind of trying to see if I have any on my desk, but yes, I actually do. So this was the pen that they sent out for 2023. This is a uni one, and this one has about three different colors in there, and this works perfectly great with the Hobonichi planners. But really, like if you kind of scroll over to their website, you see 31 days of previews, so they kind of like make full use of the full year, the full month, to show you exactly what's coming out. So you can kind of see like all of the new designs, kind of the idea behind it, who are the designers, and all of that good stuff. And looks like the other place that you can also check out Hobonichi is obviously their Instagram account. On Instagram, again, you see lots of sneak peeks. So there is one for Mother. There's another design that I just saw that looks like they're going to be keeping Dr. Tomitaro Makino's illustration. This was really popular, I believe, for the mid-year release. I kind of missed out on this one, or I believe that this was actually just a notebook. This is like a full botanical series. I'm personally really looking forward to this. This is just as stunning as the design that I picked for this year in my Hobo weeks. It's absolutely stunning. So I mean, I can't wait for some of these designs where they're like very subtle, very elegant. I really love that. But then they also have Tomomi at Nishikawa. So this is another like very cute design that they have done. And so like you kind of have the option to scroll through. My recommendation is to go through their website, figure out your sizing. Once you figure that out, figure out what cover you would like. If you would like to buy it straight from Hobonichi, obviously your best bet is going to be to actually order it straight and directly from the Hobonichi website rather than to try to get it from alternative sellers. Speaking of alternative sellers, the other seller that you definitely want to keep an eye out for is going to be Baum Kutchen. And the reason why is because Baum Kutchen not only has an amazing selection when it comes to both covers, but then also planners. Within planners specifically, they have a full selection of Hobonichis, of Midori products, and traveler's notebooks. So if your system for the next year involves multiple different setups and multiple different systems, Baum Kutchen might actually be a really great place to start, because you're going to be able to kind of get a few things from one place, ends up kind of saving a little bit of money on shipping and that sort of thing, and you're only waiting from like one retailer. So in that regard, Baum Kutchen is going to be great. Speaking of Midori, Baum Kutchen also announced this morning on Instagram that early September, you're going to be also able to get the Midori notebooks as well as the Midori planners. So if you have been eyeing this one book Midori planner, then your best bet is also to just get it straight from Baum Kutchen. Now let's talk about next. By the way, if you are enjoying this video and you're getting some value out of it and you wanted to have more behind the scenes footage, or you wanted to get more in-depth or early access to my videos, make sure that you check out my brand new YouTube membership, where I kind of give you an early access to certain videos and doing lives and things like that. So if it's in alignment, go and check that out. We couldn't move into 2024 without mentioning Sterling Ink. So Sterling Ink has also announced, as of right now, at the time of this recording, on their website you still have access to the clear covers. They also have the time washi tapes, which I highly recommend that you pick up. And then it looks like they're basically sold out of everything else, but I believe that Catherine had mentioned that early September she's going to have another release. And again, if you want more up-to-date things from Sterling Ink, again, make sure that you follow her on Instagram, because that's where she posts her most recent updates. So this is what she posted as of this morning. Basically in passport size, so in a traveler's notebook, like the standard size traveler notebook and passport size, she's going to have a monthly booklet, horizontal weekly, vertical weekly, blank grid booklet. So it looks like she's going to have both inserts for your traveler's notebook, as well as an A6, a B6 weeks, and an A5. So quite a few things that are coming, and these are all dated 2024 booklets. It will be released early September, and these will be ready to ship. And she has like a full lineup of like the different sizes, so make sure that you kind of double check that. And as of right now, she hasn't released like the specific date just yet. But again, my recommendation is that when you follow her, then make sure that you check her account regularly, because she does give you all of the updates there. She has been doing a little bit of teasing here and there, especially a little bit on YouTube, a little bit on TikTok. But honestly, I've been finding that most of her updates are quite accurate and up to date on her Instagram. Now, let's move on to what's happening within the minimalist planning world when you have an actual planner like what I have in front of me right now. And let's talk about inserts. So glad that you asked. So the main retailers that I want you to keep an eye out for are going to be, and I'm just going to list everyone. It's going to be Minimalist Paper Co. And as you can tell, this insert is from Minimalist Paper Co. Obviously, it's going to be Cloth and Paper. I'm not going to list everybody. Let's talk about Minimalist Paper Co. first. So with May, her 2024 collection is right now, as of right now, you can buy everything on her website. I believe we're still on pre-order, and you can kind of select whichever one you want. She's got both monthly, she's got quarterly overview, she's got a month on one page if that's what you're really looking for. She's got an hourly layout of daily inserts. She's got an awesome weekly layout as well. What I'm kind of hoping for here is probably going to be her daily inserts, which I believe that I actually have. These are the undated versions of this. I'm just looking to kind of match it up with what I have here. So this insert actually it starts at like $14. She also has some month on one page, a quarterly overview. So I mean, and you also have some printables. Now printables are great, especially undated printables are great if you're not sure sort of what you want or how many inserts you want of each and whatever. So it gives you a little bit more of a flexibility when it comes to that. So she has quite a selection when it comes to, she's got the vertical monthly, horizontal line, vertical border blank for her weekly. So you have quite a few selection of what you can use for printables as well as obviously the printed ones. If you're looking to have something, have it delivered on time, because Minimalist Paper Co is coming from Australia, I recommend that you order it not necessarily in September. You can likely just get away with it ordering it maybe in November, early December, probably the latest, and then that way you're kind of certain that like shipping is not going to get stuck. The last that I ordered from May, it only took maybe about 10 days or so, but just kind of keep that in mind that shipping might get delayed as we're getting a little bit closer to the end of the year. Next, let's talk about Cloth and Paper. Cloth and Paper has a full selection already ready to go. They have launched it on their website as of right now. We have our dated dailies, we have weekly schedules. You have a selection on their website for both vertical as well as horizontal. So it depends on what your preference is. I mean, I see 3 different weekly layouts that I know are very, very functional, and it's almost as close to what the Hobonichi weeks was as ever. And they start at about $28 regardless of which layout you end up choosing. So that's kind of fantastic. If you end up sticking also with the actual sub boxes, a lot of the times they do end up pre-sending you some of the inserts as well, which is again very helpful because then you can already kind of start pre-stuffing it for the next year. So that's it about Cloth and Paper. Let's talk about if you are in Canada, because I know that that usually comes up as well for most of us that are international shoppers. So let's talk about Rosie. I was going to leave Rosie for last, but I wanted to mention this because I didn't want you to run out of time. So Rosie is taking pre-orders as of right now, all the way up to August the 27th. I'm recording this on the 23rd, so you still have a few more days. And basically it's based on bundles. So her discounts, her early bird discounts is at no minimum, you're getting 10% off. So if you end up pre-ordering her stuff, you at least get 10% off. You can get up to 15 or 20% off depending on how large your order is. And one of the things that I really, really love that I want to kind of show you guys is the vertical weekly overview, which is really amazing. It's kind of similar to what I'm using right now from another seller, but we'll talk about that next. But this one is super functional. It gives you a tracker, it gives you a section for notes, for priorities, a full ongoing running to-do list, and then you have your week on the side, which is great. The other one that I really, really like, she also gives you a weekly hourly. Again, There's something about her layouts that just are super functional, full use of the space. If you're in Canada, I would actually sway you towards this only because your shipping is not going to be an issue. You're not going to get dinged on shipping. You're not going to get dinged on duties and things like that. So if you're worried about that, and the other one that I really like is it's called the Weekly Number 2. Weekly Number 2 is also fantastic. I've had that for multiple years. It's like honestly by far one of the best weeklies that I've had. So I mean, regardless of which one you end up choosing, a lot of it kind of depends on the size of your planner, obviously, but those are like my top like 2-3 inserts from them. Let's move on to, so this was Rosie. Let's move on to Notiq. Personally, Notiq Co doesn't get enough hype in my opinion. I don't see too many people talk about it, and we absolutely should. Only because they're also an Australian company. I have been using most of Notiq's inserts actually for the majority of the year, and I can honestly say I have no regrets. So this is actually the weekly that I'm currently using, and it's from Notiq. Now here's the thing that I love about it, and let me just zoom you in so you understand. I love that you have a section for priorities, for notes. This to buy and pay is also fantastic. You have a little section for a tracker down in the bottom, and then you have your dailies kind of cramped together in the center, which is basically all you need. And then on the sidebar, you also have your to-do list and anything that you want to keep track of for next week. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I believe I also bought the finance bundle, but I totally forgot to print it out, so that was totally on me. And I also really love how when the month starts, you have a full year at a glance, and then as the month starts, you can also write down your priorities, your important dates. Like this layout, it just, in my opinion, it just works really great. So the few things that I wanted to kind of point out from their website is obviously the dashboard. It's absolutely stunning. If you take a look at this horizontal week on one page, it's also really great. I feel like I should. Here is the 2024 horizontal week in one page. So as you can tell, it's kind of similar to the one from Cloth and Paper, but not quite. You do have half the page that is kind of dedicated for your dailies. Then you have a full section for your to-do list, for your priorities, for notes, and also you still have a space for trackers. And you can kind of split that. It's 1 week, 1 page. Fantastic. So I really like this. The other one that I wanted to show you is obviously going to be what I've just used for this year. So we have our weeklies. There is like a full bundle, by the way, at a really reasonable price. That's a full 2024 agenda. It includes a lot, in my opinion. I will show you that in a second, but first I wanted to show you, if you just want something very simple and easy, here's a vertical weekly agenda that I think most of you would really enjoy. This is more designed for functional planning, where you basically just get like a little block of space for each day. And then on the side, I believe that that's your running to-do list. You still have space for a tracker and for notes and priorities. And last but not least, it's an honorable mention, but I wanted to mention it anyway. If you're kind of stuck and we're like heading to the end of the year and you still haven't made a decision, but you wanted to get an insert anyway, go into Ellemon Paper Co. Ellemon Paper Co. is an oldie but a goodie. On her website, as of right now, there isn't too much detail about inserts just yet. I believe that if we look her up on Instagram, she has mentioned something. Again, like her dashboards are always stunning. But as of right now, I haven't seen too much of an update. Her pre-sale event, I believe, just ended. So, oh, actually, never mind. It ended, I believe, like 3 days ago. So this got shut down as of August the 20th, and I don't know if I don't know when she's going to have her actual 2024 sale open. That's my only thing. Pre-sale ended. Okay, I can't wait to get the items. All pre-orders will ship between September to October, and it doesn't actually say like when we're reopening everything, which is kind of a bummer, you know what I mean? Because it's sort of like, I would hope that we would kind of get, you know, a little bit more of an update from her. But if the main thing with Ellemon Paper Co. is that you're not necessarily stuck if you didn't grab anything from her pre-sale or from her pre-order, because then what you would end up doing is just go onto her Etsy shop and then do anything with printables. And you can always grab that. It's available immediately. And I mean, you know, you can't go wrong. Most of her inserts are very, very functional, and it's already sized for you, which is also great. So those were like the main ones. Obviously, I could have mentioned so many more companies that are kind of going through the 2024 like pre-sale and pre-releases. The main thing to keep in mind, now that we've gone through all of that, the main thing to keep in mind is always going to be the same, that obviously take a look at what system you have currently for this year. And before you dive into any of the new pre-sales, take a look and take some time to reflect and make some notes of what was working in each planner system, especially if you have multiple planner systems. Because you might find that as you're reflecting, you will find that you're no longer using those planner systems that you set in place for the way that you've initially intended. So my recommendation is always to kind of go a little bit slower when it comes to building up your stash. That avoids overspending, but then it also avoids, you know, having like that regret moment later on, in like midway through January, when you start using it and you kind of hate the system that you set up. So it's better to just kind of buy a little bit less, and then you just keep in mind, like, most of these companies not only will just sell the pre-sale, they will also have, you know, like they will also have sales for Black Friday and leading all the way up to the end of December. So like, you're never really going to like run out of time. But these are just some of the resources that I wanted you to have access to, so that right now it would be a fantastic time to start thinking about it. And I know, just based on the poll that I put up on Instagram, on YouTube, when I asked you guys, do you pre-purchase some of your planners ahead of time, or do you wait? A lot of you actually mentioned it was sort of like a 50-50 split, where you wait or you pre-buy it. This is all I have for you. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe and do all of that fun stuff. And in the meanwhile, just keep planning, keep journaling. And your question of the day before I let you go is, have you already purchased any of your planners that you're planning on using for 2024? Comment below. Let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. And just keep planning, keep journaling, keep doing all the things that makes you happy. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.